things revealed about Sean Combs, the one who calls himself Puff Daddy. They're shocked about the things they hear about Kelly Kumalo, about T.D. Jakes, about even Billy Graham, and politicians being exposed for doing rituals where they sleep, where they are into pedophilia and sex trafficking all over the world, like the Jeffrey Epstein case, the way people were exposing, where they were exposed for human trafficking and sex trafficking and pedophilia. This thing where people are using, where they exploit children, it's very common. It's a power ritual where children are raped, gang raped, sodomized, and they're initiated. It's called satanic ritual abuse. And it's used to train the children, to sacrifice some children, and to train others, those who survive, to become like evil, so that they dissociate and they start to live to become, they're initiated to also become monsters as well. And it's very common. I remember there was a time, this kind of thing is heavy. It's most families who elites in politics, media, banking, even in churches, who lead churches, who lead companies, big businesses, who lead minds, who lead way of influence in the modeling industry. Most of, and in the who are celebrities, politicians, and bankers, those sort of people. Most of these families, they were initiated in satanic rituals, and they were generational witches who were initiated deeper into the occult. So in every country, you find people like that, and you see them dominating politics because of the satanic rituals and covenants that were done. Like if you look in a country like Zimbabwe, you notice there are certain families who continue to dominate despite, they don't have talents. You notice, for example, the parent was the first, you hear they were the first black doctor, they were the first female to have a degree, and you follow these bloodlines, you notice these people were into the occult, and they don't marry, they don't have stable families, and some, like, they were the only first black people to be allowed to run business in a country where others were not able to even go to the capital city. They had no freedom of movement, and someone was allowed to have a business in the posh suburb of the country where white people lived. What had they done to be given such a thing? They had been initiated into Satanism, where they are like what they call monarch butterflies. Obama, if you look at the speech that Obama did in Belgium, where he talks about the international order that goes on for generations, and he is giving reference to the colonization and praising it like it's a positive thing. You notice that colonization in Africa and in the world, it was not a fail. It did not fail. It set the stage because it was actually a success, because most presidents in Africa, most families that became political elites, that became elites that control and dominate key sectors up to today, those families were initiated as monarch butterflies. That's why you notice, for example, in Zimbabwe, if you look at a person like Fadzai Mahere, she comes from a family where the mother played the exact role that she played. And the mother was a daughter of Maurice Nyagumbo, but who was a ZANU-PF person. And then you notice the life, the way Sheila Mahere, the role, everything, where she moves from opposition to ZANU-PF, opposition to ZANU-PF, until they dumped her. And then she was not even, and she lost her marriage. She just retired to go and live on a farm because her mind was not well. And you look at Fadzai, the same thing happened. She was given the same degrees. She was given the same thing, same positions where she could cross over from ZANU PF to the opposition. And it's like, it's not, who is asking, who is telling these people to give that position? Because there are secret societies that run these things. These people, Chamisa did not wake up and just decide to put Fadzai Mahere. He was told to put her there. And there's a lot that goes on. And even if you look at people like, there's so many people who are puppets of the system, who are initiated into these things as generational Satanist, families. You notice even though the children are not talented, they continue to be given positions. Like, for example, Ruveneko. You look at even her father. He failed, but he's elevated by the World Health Organization. Why would a person who failed so dismally at a national level be elevated to run something that is at Africa level for the World Health Organization? That shows you that whatever failure that you see, it was all by design. It was an assignment he was told to do. He was following orders from somewhere, and those people whose orders he followed, they are rewarding him. And you look at the closeness to the British royal family, which represents the rise of the Antichrist. They are even colonization, they were the family that represented, that led that. Okay, they didn't lead that, but they're the front that is used for that. So I want to talk about all these things that are coming up. In every country, it is known that certain positions, they are given to people who prostitute themselves. Like those socialites, they are nothing but people who give themselves to be used by the devil. There are altars, demonic altars that are used by, you look at, for example, the socialites in Zimbabwe, the rumors, the way like people like Pokelo, she's just a top, an escort, a person who sleeps around with powerful men for money. And she has children with different men. Even her mother was like, if you look at her life, the mother's life and how she was raised by stepfathers, you notice this whole thing is generational. You look also at people like she calls herself Miss Red. She even wanted to she was actually depressed because she was exposed for who she really is, that she's a person who sleeps with politicians for a living. She's a single mother, but she sleeps with any politician who has money. So she's just like a prostitute for people with money who are in politics. And I know for a fact that families who are ritualists, their children, they don't get married, but they become, I know of a certain family where all girls, they don't get married, but they are they are side chicks to politicians. They don't get married to anyone with single, but they only date married men who are in politics as a family. So it's like these things where people are sex slaves as a result of rituals they're involved in. And also you look at people who are models like Jackie, the Zimbabwean one who was suicidal. She's not telling you the real business that she's doing. She only shows you those handbags, those gifts that she gets. But she does not show you how she gets them, and it's not easy. Because these people, when they give you those gifts, they have to do certain fetishes on you, and they are so destructive. They drain you, and after they're done with you, you feel worthless, you struggle because they do something to your soul. So, modeling is nothing other than it's exploitation. It's like powerful men with money hunting, scouting for new women, boys and girls to use for rituals. That's why you notice in Zimbabwe, the people who led this Miss Zimbabwe modeling pageant, you notice all the girls who were running there, like the likes of Mary Mbayiwa Chiwenga. You look at it, she comes from a ritualistic family. You look at even how her divorce was being handled. She was being accused of extreme witchcraft and even plotting to murder her husband. And also the husband, and she was also accusing the husband of extreme witchcraft, which shows you these people are deep in rituals in Satanism. So this, even the one who was leading the Miss Zimbabwe pageant, I met the son of that person who ran the Miss Zimbabwe pageant. That man he's a Greek. He was a Greek, I don't remember the name. So when I saw him, okay, we met on the plane, and then he was telling me who he is. And I did not even have an idea who he was because he thought everyone knows his mother. But me, of course, I heard of the mother, but I didn't even pay attention to who she was. But I knew from a young age that these girls that are going for modeling, they are just going to be exploited by rich and powerful men, and rich and powerful men target them a lot. So the lady, there was a white woman who was organizing Miss Zimbabwe pageant, but she was a ritualist. She was not normal because even when I met the sun, it was scary just being close to the sun. And I understood why, and it was not difficult for me to understand why these things had to be done, but why only businessmen known for prostitution are the ones who have scandals with models, where they sleep with these models and then make them win the pageant. So the person was called, what was her name? The woman, but she was a Greek woman. And that person was even, Mugabe loved her so much, that woman. And even the son, he continued to live in Zimbabwe. And she's the founder of this thing. And the Greeks are very deep in the occult. And and soul hunting. Okay, now I don't know. The one who was leading this thing was called what? No, she was really, I forgot the name. But I met the son, and yeah. And the son was she was actually boasting about the mother. And I was just looking at him and wondering if he knew what I knew. Because for me, I was looking at him and I was like, oh, really? So this is the one who was... this thing you read in Revelations where people are trading human souls, that's real. Those are the things that they'll be looking at in these things and taking the innocence of people. So these people, they are not who you think they are. It's nothing. These modeling agencies and the models, they're just sex slaves. They're people abused in exchange for fame. Look at the way Jackie is broken. And you tell me, and even when she's broken, instead of her living that lifestyle of prostitution, she decided to just seek this white garment cult and witch doctors for her to be okay. Instead of just giving up on that, so she's holding on to herbs and continuing with the lifestyle. After she recovered a bit, she started again to post handbags, post herself with the gifts and everything. And she's struggling. And for a model, she's struggling with too much weight. It's like Anyway, I don't want to go, I don't want it to seem like I have a grudge on her. But she's just one of the many characters. People show you how these people start, and the glamour and the money, and when they're going to these functions with these very dirty men that you wouldn't want to be close to. They don't show you photos of those men and things that they do. They don't even show you how much they had to pay in return for those gifts. And they pretend to you like all is well. But if you look at how this thing ends, look at Mary Chiwenga, Mary Mbaiwa. She left, when she married Shingi, it was not her first marriage. These women are like black widows. They are never satisfied. They are possessed by demons that they are always looking for powerful men. So when she had Singi, what was his name? Shingi the footballer, she left him for the general. And the way she met the general, it was Zodwa who set them up. It was like there is sex trafficking in Zimbabwe. It's sex trafficking because Zodwa, that one that you think is a businesswoman, is not what you think she is. She's involved in sex trafficking and drugs, where she sells drugs for a living, and people call her a businesswoman. That's just so sad. So everything that you know about these people, and what do you call a person who sets up women to be married by other men? Those people are pimps and sex traffickers. And that's exactly what Zodwa did. She's the one who got on a plane with Mary Chiwenga and the general. And in the end, Mary left her husband for general. So she's involved in these sex trafficking things that are illegal, and drug trafficking. And even worse things that that are very dark. That woman is extremely demonic. And people don't know, they call her a businesswoman. I just wonder what's wrong. What power does she have that she can arrange those things, those relationships? Who is she? How is she doing it? Those are soul hunters. So the other thing you need to know, like these things coming up with the P. Diddy, and coming up about TD Jakes and Kelly Kumalo, that they organized the murder and everything. It's because this thing where people, the fame, they get, it's like the blood. It has to be sacrifices, ritual sacrifices of others for them to become famous. So it's not as simple as you think. It's about the souls you can destroy, the innocence that you can take, the rituals that you engage in, especially the gay and sodomy rituals and pedophilia that you have to engage in for you to get in a position of power. So those things, I don't know, people are only starting to wake up to this reality. Oh, Puff Daddy is evil. But it was written. You could, like for me, I didn't need to hear anything for me to know who he is now. I remember when I was younger, there was a time Puff Daddy was dating Jennifer Lopez. And I remember Jennifer Lopez was an upcoming artist. But I remember listening to her songs, the first songs I could listen to them and watch them. But after that, when she was dating Puff Daddy, I struggled. I couldn't watch her anymore. She was involved in something dark and demonic. And I started to look and wonder and look for evidence of what that was. And I remember coming across many posts where she was deep in Santeria and voodoo. She was so deep that when she wanted to marry Mark Anthony, she was told not to marry him by a voodoo priestess. And she stopped. So her life is led by these rituals and consultation with witch doctors and people worse than witch doctors. The whole of Hollywood, people are into deep, deep, dark magic, which is worse than witchcraft. They are involved in deep, dark rituals where there is sex involved, there is sodomy involved, there is pedophilia and human sacrifices. So when you see these people and you can still stand their music, that shows there is something wrong with you. Like me, I remember when they released the song by Faith Evans and Puff Daddy. I think that was the last song I watched by Puff Daddy. I couldn't, I tried, I couldn't watch anything else. I couldn't even listen to anything else. Because because whenever you are playing their songs, when you're watching them, you're actually allowing yourself you're allowing them to impart whatever evil is on them to you. And you start to get affected because most people are not spiritually sensitive. For me, I was young, but my spirit rejected these things. I remember not being able to watch certain things. And I used to wonder, why am I not watching? Am I not able to watch this yet? Other people are watching and they're saying this is a big hit. So, these things, whenever what you see, there are certain people who got into Hollywood, they only did one album and then they couldn't continue because they failed to do the demonic rituals. You look at people like Jennifer Hudson, she got into Hollywood, then she lost everyone close to her in some tragic burglary or whatever. But you look at the way Hollywood does human sacrifices. And you get famous and you think it's okay to become famous when at the expense of your own relatives. So, even if it's coincidence, for me, I would stop altogether. Because you saw there was also a recent video where Kanye was talking about how he sacrificed his mother. And you look at the way the mother died. She was not supposed to die. And also, why was an old woman even doing these cosmetic surgeries? You even wonder why was yeah, but it's, and you look at even the people involved in sports, like sports, soccer stars, rugby, and what do you call it, in basketball and other sports. These people are deep, deep in dark rituals for their talent. There's a time when a Zimbabwean footballer wrote a book about how they needed a witch doctor to do rituals before every match. And this is a Zimbabwean footballer talking about these things in his books. So, these things where you follow even wrestlers, where you follow even these shows, these celebrities who are in rituals that you don't know, you are just inviting demons to your own life. It's not worth it. So for me, I'm sensitive. When I'm watching something or I'm listening to something and my spirit is disturbed, I stop. I think I'm one of the few people whose spirits gets affected by these things, and even if I try to force, I can't. I pay attention to what I listen to and what I watch. I don't just watch anyhow. Because even if I try to watch, I start to get attacked. I start to be tired, and then in the end, I even stop. So be careful about the things that you are doing, because even in our countries, in African countries, there are a lot of rituals that are being done. There was actually a certain celebrity who was in Zimbabwe who was exposing that he was involved in some gay rituals in order for him to have a recording deal for his music, so that he could have collaborations with some famous musicians, and all they wanted was for him to be sodomized by them, so that they could have a collaboration with him. So you wonder why you find so many men that are now struggling with life, that are having depression and suicidal and into drugs and alcohol. It's because they're engaging in funny rituals for fame, funny rituals for a record label. And most of them, after they do those things, they cannot live with themselves. They struggle. So, everything that is happening, that is being revealed, it was revealed even years before. Many people have tried to expose these things, but when a person exposes these things and you don't see the police or the country's police force acting on these things, you think, oh, it must be false, because if it was true, they would have arrested him. No. The entire system, including the political system and the legal system and the police force, the top people are involved in those things. They belong to secret society and cults. So they don't easily just arrest like that. They try to silence the person who is exposing these things. Like you notice in Zimbabwe, for example, when a minor is raped, they don't help the minor, but they use that minor, they destroy that minor, they make it so difficult the way they treat the minor, even the way they're treated by the police and the way they're treated by people around them and the church and everything, is to they make sure that the person who reported is punished, so that they don't report anything, so that other minors who are in similar situation will be so scared to report anything, because the victim is humiliated, the victim is shamed. And also they are told that they are lying. If the person that abused them is a powerful person, if it's a pastor, they're told that they're trying to destroy a man of God. So, even you look at the UK, when they're investigating pedophilia, they're doing it to cover up for the criminals, not to help the victims. You look at the Hampstead cover up that happened where the two children were reporting their father, that the father was abusing them sexually and he belonged to a satanic gang. And they were abused at school with the help of the the principal and other people. And this was a Christian school. And this happened, and these children it was covered up, and these children, instead of them being taken, instead of this abuse stopping, it became worse, because they made them live with the abuser and took them from the mother. And the mother was arrested for no crime. And you see the same happening in the United States. You see the same happening even in South Africa and Zimbabwe, where where a person who exposes these things is arrested. Like, for example, there's a case of someone called Jackie Pamotse. She was a victim of satanic ritual abuse as a child, right? And then she wrote books about these things that she experienced, and she named, and then there was a certain tweet that she made, and she didn't even specify who it was that she was referring to. But there's a couple who sued her because they believed it was them that she was talking about. And then the case went on and on for, like, I think 6 years, 5-6 years, and then she was found guilty. But the problem is not that she's guilty. The problem is that these people are trying to shut her down. They start to say, "Oh, we're vindicated for the diabolical things that she said and she was accusing us of." Them arresting her, it means they are actually confirming that what she's saying is truth. Because if she was not truthful, the police and even the justice system would not even attack her. We all know the legal system in South Africa and any part of the world is captured by these Satanists and led by these people who don't want their crimes to be exposed. So whenever anyone exposes them and they know it's true, they want that person to suffer. But anyone who can connect two and two together will know that this couple that was being exposed, that was fighting Jackie Pamotse, was fighting him because she exposed the truth about them. So with their makeup and their business status and everything, they're involved in those things. And they are desperate to cover up, but they don't know that by fighting it, they are just exposing themselves. By them handing over a judgment and fighting tooth and nail for their name, they didn't even do anything, because the name, we already know. Anyone who can see already knows what Jackie is exposing. So she may be charged, but we all know what this is about. It's about trying to shut down the victims so that the criminals can continue to live and hide their diabolical things that they do. So it's not even cyberbullying that she did. She's just revealing the truth. And the people, she didn't even name them, but they knew who they were and they fought it. And the legal system is on these people's side, because they know if she starts naming people, they'll also be named, because they're involved in this sex trafficking and satanic ritual abuses going on. So it's all about hiding the rituals they do and the demonic, diabolical things that they're involved in, so that they create an image of being perfect. But now you cannot shut down a victim when they're exposing these things, because even if you try to do that, you're just exposing yourself. So in the end, you'll notice a lot of things will continue to be exposed, because we are in the end times. A lot will be exposed. They will shock you. Even politicians, things that they did that were hidden for years, they'll be exposed, because everything has to be exposed because of the time. Because before Jesus Christ comes, there has to be cleaning of the church, cleaning of this, of everything, the legal system, those in political positions, everything that is hidden will come to light. You'll be shocked by the things you will see. Like, for example, most people, I don't even know why people are even surprised about P. Diddy. He's a warlock. That person you don't even need. They sing it in their lyrics. You see the way they treat other people. You hear the accusations of other men talking about how he took their innocence. So that means, that's like when a younger man says that they were a certain P. Diddy took his innocence. That's gay ritual, that's sodomy done to a young boy. And these people keep sexless for entertainment. So, there's things even about TDJs, you'll be shocked, but that's true. That's what they are. And they managed to deceive people, to pretend to be something else using public relations stunts, where they pretend like they're these straight people who are very God-fearing, and they pretend. And now for TDJs, has already put his own daughter to become a minister. Yet we know her past, she is more troubled than him. She needs healing and to sit down and listen and receive deliverance. But no, they don't allow her that, because they have to make money, and whatever she went through, they have to try and cover it up by giving her a position. And if you look at the men that are marrying her, they are men who had wives. Why is she not able to get a bachelor? Why is this? Because of the person that she is and the things she's involved in. And the rituals, they have to get only marry someone's husband, not theirs, not someone who's single. It's all about destruction of marriage, the agenda of the Antichrist that we see happening, Anyway, I'm tired. Let me stop.